I've been trying to get out and shoot for ages, but I was ill for a long time and I've been really busy. And also the weather's been a bit like... So instead, let's talk about why some photographers rate their abilities a little higher than they really should, and how you can avoid falling into that trap and make sure you have a good understanding of your own abilities so you know what work to take on and how far to push yourself. Early one morning in Pittsburgh in 1995, a man by the name of MacArthur Wheeler set out to rob a bank. Now, robbing a bank is quite a risky thing to do, but MacArthur Wheeler had a plan. You see, MacArthur had learned about how lemon juice can be used as invisible ink, as it only becomes visible once it's exposed to heat. So he had the brilliant idea of covering his whole face in lemon juice so the security cameras at the bank wouldn't be able to see him. And he was so confident in this approach that he went on to rob not one, but 2 banks. Unfortunately for him, this didn't work as well as he was expecting it to, and he was caught within an hour and arrested. Now, psychological evaluation of Wheeler found him to be of sound mind. He was just a man who had vastly overestimated his understanding of some basic science. In other words, he was just like the rest of us. And this fascinated social psychologists David Dunning and Dunning-Kruger, and it prompted them to run a series of studies to investigate the discrepancy between people's self-belief and their actual abilities. The results of the studies showed that the less competent someone was in a particular area, the more likely they were to rate their performance highly in that area. And this is because it takes exactly the same skill to be good at something as it does to understand how good you are at that particular thing. And this today is known as the dunning-kruger effect, and the results plotted on a graph look something like this. Now, on the horizontal axis here we have people's actual ability measured from no skill to expert, and on the vertical axis we have the same measurements of no skill to expert but showing people's perceived ability of themselves. So if we were to draw a line of an accurate understanding of your own abilities, it would look like this green line here. But the results of the studies showed that people with a low skill set in a certain area often rated themselves as near expert in that field, not realising how much they still had to learn. And it was as they began to progress that they realised how much lay in front of them, and their perceived ability of themselves started to drop. Now, at the other end of the scale, people with a high level of ability in something suffer from something called imposter syndrome, where they actually rate their abilities lower than they actually are. Understanding how your abilities fare compared to other photographers is a key skill in learning photography. It affects everything from learning what to charge for work to what work you can take on, to understanding where you need to focus and where you need to develop your skills. The problem is that overestimating what you are capable of can really land you in hot water when you start to charge for commercial work, only to find that you're not actually up to the job. Before we go any further, I'd like to point out that falling prey to the Dunning-Kruger effect doesn't in any way mean you're stupid. Pretty much everyone is susceptible to it, and everyone experiences it to some degree or another. I know I have in photography and other areas of my life. But while there's nothing to beat yourself up about, it is something you should take active steps to avoid. So how do we escape the Dunning-Kruger trap? It's not maybe an entirely bad thing. That initial rush of confidence from overestimating your abilities will probably help you develop your skill and give you that push that you need to get yourself into something. But aside from that, there are some steps you can take to help you obtain a more objective view of your abilities as a photographer. So firstly, beware of feeling comfortable. As soon as you start to feel comfortable, challenge yourself, change something, try something new. Now secondly, learn to let go of old work. We've all got those shots that we just feel are our best shots, but try to better them. Try to forget about them and move forward. If you keep coming back to old work, it means you're not progressing. Try and push yourself forward, try and build on what you've already done. Now thirdly, ask for feedback and critique from good photographers on a regular basis. Now this can be difficult because sometimes it's hard to hear, and it's the critique that really gets to you that is probably the most important because you know they're right. Take the temporary pain for the long-term benefits. Now it's very easy to get an Instagram account and to embrace all the likes that people give you and just feel really good about yourself. And feeling good about yourself is really important, but to really make those leaps in your progression, you need to know what you're doing wrong and you need to better yourself. And I'm not saying to listen to haters or trolls online. Ignore them. They're just a bunch of losers who are trying to bring you down because they feel bad about themselves. What I am saying is learn to not be precious about your work. Learn to really embrace the criticism and move forward. Fourthly, always keep learning. You have never learnt everything because the world is moving forward. Photography is always changing, and because of this constant forward momentum, if you stand still, you're effectively going backwards. So never think that you've finished learning something. Never think that you know everything there is to know about it, because there's always more. Find it and make yourself learn it. Number 5, lastly, understand that feeling bad about your old work is a sign that you're moving forward. When you start to realise how not good you are, that means that you've got over the biggest hurdle and you understand what you need to do. So you're developing the skills in order to do better, and that's a really, really positive thing. Keep reading those books, keep educating yourself, keep practicing, keep moving forward. At the moment, you've probably got a series of images that you think are your best images and you're amazingly proud of them, and that's great. But if in 3 years' time you look back and you're still really proud of those images, then you're probably not doing something right. What's probably going to happen is you're going to look back at work you think is brilliant now and you're going to be really embarrassed about how bad it is. And that means that you have moved forward so much, and that is such a good thing. I cannot impress enough upon you how important that is and how positive that is. But ultimately, while you should do everything you can to make sure that you understand how your abilities fare compared to others, it's mainly just about enjoying the ride, so don't worry too much about it. Just try not to be too precious, because preciousness will hold you back. You need to move out of your comfort zone of what you know in photography as well. Try and move away from fashionable trends. And I noticed there is a bit of a fashion at the moment for sort of blue and pink neon, shooting through prisms. And that's all great, but you know, these sort of camera hacks videos and stuff will only take you so far. What you need to do is understand a bit more about the language of photography. So look at a completely different photographer. Look at someone who makes social commentary with their photography. Look at someone who makes abstract black and white with their photography. Look at photographers from history. Just get a bigger understanding to understand where you sit within the world of photography. Learn why you're doing things, not just how to do them. There's a great line from Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum says,
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
It's fine to follow all those fashionable trends and, you know, have fun. Honestly, do it, it's great. But just keep in mind that there's more to photography than that, and always push to learn more.